While it is now referred to as the Los Angeles BB murder cases, a rather catchy title, when it was actually happening, right in the middle of the whirlpool, it was never called anything so impressive. The media called it the Coninue murders, or the LA serial locked room killings, or all kinds of other ghastly names. This fact was undoubtedly a source of great annoyance to Beyond Birthday, the perpetrator of the murders in question, but frankly, I think those names provide a more accurate description of what was actually happening. Either way, the day after Beyond Birthday carried out the third of the murders, August 14, 2002, 8:15 a.m. local time, the FBI agent Naomi Masura was lying dazedly on the bed in her apartment, having just woken up. She was wearing dark leather pants and a matching leather jacket, but it would be a mistake to assume she customarily slept in this outfit. She had spent several hours racing around on her motorcycle the night before in a vain effort to burn off stress, and when she finally returned to her apartment, she had fallen instantly into a sound slumber without bothering to shower or undress. Much like the name of the case, Masura has now entered the public consciousness as the one who eventually cracked the Los Angeles BB murder cases. But the truth is that when these events were unfolding in real time, she had been suspended from her duties as an FBI agent. According to the official records, she was just on a leave of absence, but this is purely because she had absolutely no ability whatsoever to stand up to the pressure from her superiors and colleagues. Suspension, leave, summer vacation. I don't think we need to go into the reasons for a suspension here. What is certain is that this was America. She was Japanese, female, very good at her job, and the FBI is a large organization, which ought to be enough information. Obviously, she did have colleagues who had a high opinion of her, which is exactly why she had been able to work in the organization so far. But a month before, just before the Los Angeles BB murders, Masura had made a major blunder. So major even she could not believe it, which led directly to her current situation. This was not the kind of problem that could be alleviated by racing around in the middle of the night on a motorcycle. Masura was seriously considering quitting the FBI, casting off her entire life, and moving back to Japan. Obviously, part of her was sick and tired of all the nonsense that came with the job, but even more than that was the guilt she felt over her own mistake, which hung upon her shoulders like a dead weight. Even if there had been no pressure from those around her, not that this hypothetical was even remotely possible, Masura would have asked for time off herself, or even resigned. Masura slowly peeled herself off the bed, intending to shower away the sweat of the night before, but then she noticed the laptop on her desk was, for some reason, turned on. She had no recollection of turning it on. After all, she had just woken up. Had she hit the switch on her way in last night, and then fallen asleep without shutting it down again? She didn't remember doing that, but since the screensaver was working, there seemed to be no other explanation. One would assume that if she had enough energy left to turn on her computer, she would have enough energy to undress. Masura peeled off her jacket and pants, and with her body feeling much lighter, got off the bed, moved over to her desk, and jiggled the mouse. This was enough to clear the screensaver, but at this point Masura became even more confused. The main email program was running and flashing a new mail message. It was possible she'd fallen asleep with her computer on, but to fall asleep in the middle of checking her email? While she was still wondering about that, she clicked on her inbox. There was one new message from Ray Penber. This was the name of Masura's current boyfriend, also an FBI agent. He was the most obvious example of the agents who had high opinion of her, not that this stopped him from beginning her to transfer to a less dangerous department every time something happened. Since her leave was almost over, this might well be just business, so Masura went ahead and opened the message.
Naomi Masura-sama, I apologize for contacting you like this. I would like to request your help in solving a certain case. If you're willing to assist me, please access the third block of the third section of the Sunny Disk server on August 14th at 9 a.m. The line will be open for exactly 5 minutes. Please exit the firewall yourself. L. P.S. In order to contact you, I took the liberty of borrowing your friend's address. This was the simplest and safest way to contact you, so please forgive me. Regardless of whether you agreed to help me or not, I need you to destroy this computer within 24 hours of reading this message.
When she finished reading, Miss Laura immediately reread the entire message and finally checked the sender's name again. L. She might be suspended, but she was still an FBI agent, and obviously she recognized the name. It would have been unforgivable had she not. She briefly considered the idea that Ray Pember or someone else was playing a practical joke on her, but she found it hard to believe anyone would be so bold to sign their name as such. L never revealed himself in public or in private, but Miss Laura had heard several horror stories about what had happened to detectives who had tried passing themselves off as L. It was safe to say that no one would dare use his name, even in jest. So,
Dang,
she grumbled, and proceeded to take her shower, washing away the exhaustion of the night before. She dried her long black hair and drank a cup of hot coffee. But she was only pretending to consider the matter. She did not really have a choice. No FBI agent, particularly a low-ranking one, could even consider turning down a request from L. But at this time Miss Laura did not have a particularly favorable opinion of the great detective L, so she had to pretend to hesitate, if only to make herself feel better. If you consider Miss Laura's personality, the reasons for this are clear. It seemed obvious that the reason her laptop had been turned on was that L had hacked it, and she was more than a little depressed that she would now have to randomly destroy the new computer she had just purchased a month before.
I don't mind. I do, but...
She didn't have a choice. At just past 8:50, Miss Laura sat down in front of her laptop, which had now less than 23 hours left to live, and began following L's instructions. She was not an expert hacker, but she had been taught the basics as part of her FBI training. Just as she successfully gained access to the server, her entire screen went white. Miss Laura was momentarily alarmed, but then she noticed a giant calligraphic L floating in the center of the screen, and relaxed.
Naomi Miss Laura,
Came a voice from the laptop speakers after a brief pause. It was obviously a synthetic voice, but this was the voice recognized as L's by every investigative department in the world. Miss Laura had heard it several times before, but this was the first time it had ever addressed her directly. It felt weird, like she was hearing her name on TV. Not that she had ever had that experience, but this was what she imagined it would be like.
this is L.
Hi, Miss Laura started to say, but then realized how pointless that was. Her laptop did not have a microphone installed, and there was no way for him to hear her. Instead, she typed in,
This is Naomi Miss Laura. It's an honor to speak to you, L.
If her connection was sound, he should be able to receive this.
Naomi Miss Laura, are you familiar with the murder investigation going on in Los Angeles as we speak?
L got right down to business, without acknowledging her words at all. Presumably, this was because he had to complete his communication by 9:05, but his manner and attitude rubbed Miss Laura the wrong way. Like it was a given that she would cooperate with him, which was true, but acting like it showed no respect for her pride. Miss Laura allowed herself to bang on the keyboard rather loudly. I am not so skilled that I can keep track of all the murder investigations happening in Los Angeles.
Oh, I am.
He returned her sarcasm with a boast.
L continued. I referred to the serial killings. The third victim was found yesterday. I believe there will be more victims to come. Agent Mendes is calling it the Laurel Needle Murders.